Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of Maximum Octane. This is Kim Hickey here, and I'm super excited. I keep telling everybody, Charlene, I know I start out every episode about how excited I am, and they're probably like enough already, but I am excited because I get to pick who the heck I want to talk to when I want to talk to them. So what is there not to be excited about? My guest today is a friend and a colleague, and I've also had the pleasure of coaching her for several years when she had her previous business. And so everything's kind of full circle. And so now I work with her and used to coach her. And it's been a wonderful journey to get to see all of the things that you've gone through and overcome and all of that. So joining me today is Charlene Parlett. And I'm going to tell you a couple of her certifications, and then she'll have to tell you the rest because it's an exhausting catalog of, and I'm still not like up to par on all my stuff from the hurricane notes and all of that good stuff. So we're going to let you kind of say it, but I know you're a certified executive coach, and I know you're a certified life coach, I believe. And I know that you are certified for Profit First Professional, and want to tell everybody all the rest of the stuff.
Oh gosh. Well, I have all these certifications because I love to learn. That's really the bottom line. I'm a accredited Master of Automotive Management. That's from an organization called the Automotive Management Institute. Surprise, surprise.
AMI stuff.
Yeah. Life coach, leadership coach. I have a slightly unique certification. I'm also a certified confidence coach. It always surprises me, even today, after 10 years doing it, how much confidence has an impact on the decisions you make, the steps you're willing to take, the risks you're willing to take, and the impact on your life as a whole. So that's kind of a fun one to have out there because I have that little bit of a different perspective. But the one I'm most proud of really is the executive coaching, because not only did it dramatically change the way I do what I do professionally, but a lot of what I learned I could internally apply and change the way I saw my own life and myself and who do I want to be going forward. So that's the one I'm the most excited about, I guess.
That is awesome. And you're involved in another certification that we won't spoil what that is yet, but definitely when you get done with it and all of your projects, I want to have you back on to talk about it. And
sure.
I would just say Charlene's probably the only person I know that we'll get done with this huge project or training or certification and we're pulling our hair out. We're exhausted. We need to run away on a desert island for like a week. And what is the popular thing to say now? And unpack everything and, and kind of just get our head together. And you're like, great, when's the next one? What can I, and then you're just like 5 seconds later using whatever it is we learned. And then you're like ready for the next one. And the rest of us are like, oh, please shut up, Charlene, give us a minute. We need a minute. Stop it.
Right.
But you're just like, no, more and more learning, more and more, which is wonderful. So the episodes are now on YouTube, or at least they're supposed to be, I'm told. So
cool.
You have a little bit of an interesting decor there.
That's right.
So are the blue stripes intentional, or do you want to?
The blue stripes are painter's tape. So my office is literally in the midst of renovation. It actually looks better than it did a few days ago. But the little white dots, that's drywall mud for patches in the wall, and that's what the tape is. And sometime today, tomorrow, this weekend, it'll get painted and redecorated and reorganized. But right now, I'm literally got just enough space between my fake desk and my real desk to move my chair back and forth. That's about it.
Well, and if anyone that knows Charlene the way I do, that this has to have her crawling out of her skin. And so,
oh my gosh, it's absolutely driving me nuts. Absolutely.
So the fact that she could appear so happy and put together and sound so, carefree is really a testament to your fortitude.
It's a testament to Xanax. That's what it's a testament to.
So I have you want to hear a painter's trick I learned a long time ago that I just love? It's
Sure.
like one of my favorite things I ever learned in my life. You know, when you use the tape and sometimes like it leaks through and then you got to hand
Mm-hmm.
do it, or you have a wall that's not like it's a rounded thing or whatever, you want to
Mm-hmm.
do different colors. So what I learned is you put the tape like to the edge of wherever and you paint the wrong side of the color in there first and you seal up there, and then when that
Mm-hmm.
dries you paint the right one, and so when you pull off the tape it's a perfectly straight line.
Excellent.
I'm telling you, it was a life changer for me. So, because I cannot stand when I see the little seepy through whatever
Mm-hmm. Yep.
lines, and I'm weird because I like colored walls and different colors, and it's like
Oh,
one
you're
of my
gonna love it when it's renovated then. I'm not gonna
yeah.
tell you the secret color.
So, did you use a mood board? How did you come up with your?
It's really only been in maybe the last 5 or 6 years that I've gotten any real decorating taste. And I'm very fond of coastal colors. So when I was trying to decide what do I want this to be like, well, I want my office to be someplace that I look forward to being in it for 10 to 12 hours a day because I am. And with that thought, I also said it needs to be the most beautiful room in my house. And it needs to be a place that reminds me of things I love. And one of the things I absolutely love is the beach, going to the Caribbean, anything that has to do with anything related to Mexico, the Bahamas, Jamaica, Costa Rica, anything that makes me think about those sceneries. So that's where the color came from.
All right.
So
Well,
I'm very excited.
I can't wait to see it, and I'm sure that our listeners can. So when you get it done, we'll have to post a picture on the site. So today, you are going to share with us about the Wow Forever Wow experience. So we love our acronym. So is that, can I call that the FWE, Charlene? Is that,
Sure.
because Forever Wow experience is like a lot. So let's talk FWE. Let's talk. Oh, a little bit of my New York was coming. Let's talk some FWE, Charlene. Have some
So
coffee.
so FWE is really not groundbreaking. Okay. It's
Yes,
it,
I just invented a new acronym for it.
right.
What do you mean?
This is one of those things that really gets under my skin. I will have a amazing experience somewhere. I mean, really over the top. I'm the one putting the 5-star reviews on Google and Facebook and driving all my friends nuts telling them about this amazing experience I had somewhere. And then I go back the second time. And maybe it's not as amazing. So I think, oh, well, it just really blew my mind because it was so fantastic and I hadn't experienced it before. So maybe it's not really, a little less this time. I just know what I'm expecting now, right? And then I go back the third time. And maybe I go back the fourth time. But if every time I go back, I'm not having that same fantastic wow experience over and over again, how am I feeling about that now? Now I'm going to be a little bitter because you set the bar so high and I had such an amazing first experience. I expect to have that same amazing experience over and over again. And this really hit home with me in two very specific circumstances just in the last 6 months. The first was a restaurant. And I think a lot of us have probably had this experience where there's a new restaurant and you decide to try it out. And maybe the first time through was fantastic. And you go back and maybe it's not so fantastic. And I have a favorite restaurant near my home. It's a Indian restaurant. Food is really, really great. And the first 3, 4, 5 visits were absolutely phenomenal. The food's amazing. The service was great. We were going frequently enough that they knew us when we walked in the door, and
So
the manager was,
You're like Norm at
yes,
Cheers.
yes, exactly. They knew, Charlene likes this particular Indian beer. They went ahead and brought it to the table. It was lovely. I mean, it really was over the top. And then things started to change. That manager apparently was a big part of that wow experience, and that manager moved on to something else. And when you go today, it's not dramatically less, but it's average now. The food's still excellent, but it's little things like how long it's taking to get the food, how long it's taking to get your order taken, the fact that they don't bring the food out together. They'll bring whatever dish is ready first out first, and then
Oh,
you have someone
I
at the
hate that.
table who's uncomfortable, and you're telling them, no, go ahead and eat, or else their food's going to be cold when everybody else's
Right.
comes. It's just the wow isn't there anymore. The forever wow isn't there anymore. So that one really stuck out to me, and I still go there. But I'm hoping that old manager shows up so we can say, hey, things are not the same as since you left. And I think it's important to recognize in that circumstance, a person was the reason, at least from what I see, that they were having this wow
So it wasn't a
experience for customers.
process.
It
It wasn't
wasn't
a
a
duplicatable
process. That's
process.
right. That's
Okay.
right. And then the second one, which is really near and dear to my heart and hurt my heart, was I had a very similar thing happen with a automotive repair shop. Now, for those who have listened in, they know that that's the industry that Kim and I work with. And this particular shop is not someone who works with us, but they had a great reputation online. And because I am a nerd when it comes to this stuff, I had called them and I had drilled this poor person on the phone. Do you do DVIs? And like, no one even asks that because they don't know what it is. And then when she finally realized what I was asking, then I started asking, well, what kind do you do? And she didn't know. And I started naming off the companies that offer DVI service, and on and on. So I really grilled this poor person before I would make an appointment, and all my boxes were checked off. And my first experience was fantastic. I got that DVI I wanted, lots of notes, lots of recommendations, really felt good about the conversation. And I'm an easy sell. If you say I need it, I'm probably going to say, can you have it done by tomorrow? And it's a done deal. I am the customer everybody wants. Okay. Had to go back a second time a few months later. They didn't do that DVI. And one of the things that I think you're going to put in the podcast is a link to an article I wrote, which was directly from this experience called Where's My Pickle? And that's why I wrote that, because what made it such a wow was that complimentary thing that I didn't get the second time. And I was really upset. I wanted to know where it was. And then it didn't help, on top of it was the person who checked me in didn't make the notes right, or interpreted my words. Let's put it that way. They interpreted my words, and it resulted in the technician only checking the thing that the interpretation implied was wrong with my car.
Oh, my head's gonna be on fire. I just had something very similar.
And I knew there was something else wrong with the car. So when they called me, I said, tell you what, I'd like someone to check this too, and then call me back. And sure enough, I was right. That other thing was wrong. So I basically helped them bump a sale by about $2,000, but I had to identify it myself.
Oh,
Yeah. So that wow wasn't there. That forever experience wasn't there. And then the third time, because I had to take it back, there was a noise, and I was concerned it was related to the thing they had just fixed. And I had it towed in because I was that concerned about the noise. It got towed in on a Thursday afternoon. They didn't get to look at it till Friday. And Friday afternoon, they informed me that it was not the thing that I was concerned about, and that was perfectly safe. But I did probably need to look at X because it was making the noise. They didn't do the DVI again, and I ended up taking it to someone else who is near and dear to my heart, who I knew would really shake it down because that's what you do when it's mom. And what he found was not only was, no, it was not the thing that had been fixed, but it also wasn't the thing that they said it was. And he said, I don't even know why they thought it was that. I said, I know why, because it was 4:45 on a Friday and they wanted to go home. And so I had these three experiences, same business, same employees. There was no difference in the people. But I went from, wow, I'm I'm going here and I'm telling everybody else about this place, to all you had to do was follow the same exact process you did the first time. That's it. You had to wow me forever at that point. And so I work with a lot of businesses that have a huge wow factor. And they knock customer socks off the very first time you're there because they know it's the very first time you're there. But where we drop the ball is when we don't give them that experience forever.
You bring up a point that I think that drives me crazy, and it's one of my pet peeves. Is there are businesses, and it doesn't matter what industry, that
Yeah.
pay much more attention to a first time customer or new customer than the other. They do it in restaurants. They swap out your coaster for anybody that
Right.
doesn't pay attention when you're at Outback or anywhere else, and the manager comes over and says, "This is your first time here." If you say yes, they refresh your coaster because they're putting a different color to tell
Mm-hmm.
you. There's hair
Right.
salons that put a different color cape. There's all
Mm-hmm.
every industry kind of has something that says this is a new customer. And it's like, why do you go through all of that trouble? Why not treat every customer every time like they're a new customer and give the same wow and give that same thing? But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the business studies say that if somebody comes, I don't know, it's like four times, they're likely to become like a lifelong. There's all
Right.
different numbers, and depending what publication or article that you read, but it ranges
Mm-hmm.
anywhere from, I think, three times to like six times that they say this is a customer for life. Like somebody comes six times, they're there for life. And
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of businesses really think about that, and they're like, "Oh, that's our customer. They're a regular customer." And I every time I hear that from someone, whether it's a friend in a roofing business or anything else, and they're like, "Oh no,
Right.
that they can wait. That's one of our regulars." No, that's not why.
Yep.
And it's like we see it with cell phones and everything. It makes me crazy
Mm-hmm.
that I'm a paying customer of something for years, and
Right.
somebody brand new doesn't have. And
Right.
so it's just, and you know what else too, I think that irks me more, Charlene, than all of it for myself is
Mm-hmm.
you recommend people based on
Yes.
experience. And so
Right.
you're saying to your friends or family or whatever, hey, you
Mm-hmm.
need a this. I went to an amazing place. They did all this stuff.
Right.
I highly recommend them. And then your friend comes back and goes, what the heck were
Right.
you smoking? Why did you send me that place? This happened,
Mm-hmm.
this happened, this happened. And you feel horrible for them. And I almost want to pay for their dinner or their haircut or whatever it is, because I'm like, I'm so
Right.
sorry that I sent you there, because,
Mm-hmm.
people trust their friends. And if somebody
Yeah.
gives that word, and I don't know
Well, the other thing I want to point out is in neither one of my experiences did I ever question their honesty. I never questioned their integrity, but I did question, and you pointed it out on the first one, their processes, their systems. You know, customer service, if you really, really want to do it right, it has to be a thing that is so ingrained in your team that they don't even think about it. We are always going to do this. We are always going to treat our customers like this. We are always going to follow this same process or procedure. And if it's a amazing and fantastic process, then you are going to provide that fantastic wow forever. I want to make that point is neither one of these companies made me feel like they were dishonest with me, but I did feel, particularly in the second example, that they were negligent, that they dropped the ball, that they chose not to do something that really should have been just a habit. Of course we're doing it because we always do it. Of course we're following our procedure because we always follow our procedure. But if If you decide that the experience the customer is going to have is going to be decided by how busy you are, if it's going to be decided by who had to call out today, if it's going to be decided by the circumstances going on in your business as opposed to the experience that you want to habitually provide, then you are going to drop the ball unfortunately, on a regular basis. I
How
think
about
that's
the
really
time
what
of
happened.
day? The time of
Yep.
day. And I don't care what kind of business it is. I see a huge difference
Mm-hmm.
in the treatment at most businesses when it's a half an hour before closing or an hour, whether they
Right.
close at 5, whether they close at 8, whether they close at 10, because it's like mentally they're
Mm-hmm.
clocked out and mentally they're closed an hour before. And you
Mm-hmm.
see the same thing in restaurants sometimes or other things, and they're vacuuming around your feet while you're, whatever, if you're
Right.
in that, and it's horrible. And don't make your problem my problem. And you just brought up if somebody called in sick, there isn't anything that makes me want to pull my hair out more. I think sometimes is when I go in somewhere, I don't care if it's a car place, a restaurant, a roofing, whatever, tile
Mm-hmm.
store, Home Depot, I don't care. And then they say, oh, we're shorthanded. You're like, we'll be with you. And they're like almost rude. And it's like, that's not my problem. Then you shouldn't have let this many people in, or you shouldn't have sat these
Mm-hmm.
many tables, or whatever. If you don't have the staff to handle it, then don't take the customers in, and let them know,
Right.
listen, we'd love to be able to help you, but this is where we're not taking in any other people for the evening or that. And that's where I love, like, I hope that every single entrepreneur and business owner has watched the Ray Kroc story, the founder,
Mm-hmm.
that movie, because it was so, I'm very visual, and it was so visual of when they were practicing and going through the line. Never once did you hear anybody yell, oh my gosh, the line's around the building, don't put that dang ketchup on there, we don't got time today, leave the ketchup off, we don't have time to put it, or don't put the pickle or whatever, the bun, just
Right.
we don't have time to put a bun on, we're shorthanded, just get it through the line. Never did you hear
Right.
that, ever.
Right.
And if McDonald's did that, which I don't like McDonald's, but I do like their fries if they're fresh, but McDonald's would not be where they are today if every time a customer came in, sometimes you got a bun, sometimes you didn't.
Right.
Sometimes you got a pickle, sometimes you didn't. Sometimes, so even something as simple as that, like, we want consistency. And that's why
Mm-hmm.
chains are so popular, because they know the food is hopefully
Right.
going to be kind of the same, right? And it's
Absolutely. Yeah.
crazy.
And I know everybody uses this example, but except for Sundays, you will never find an empty Chick-fil-A line.
Nope.
Part of it's the food, but honestly, their food's not that amazing. It's no better than most other fast food restaurants. But the
I
expectation
might
is
get
I'm
some
going to get
death
a
threats
high.
right now,
I know.
Charlene.
Well, I'm a lover of the Lord's chicken myself.
I know, but
But
I'm just saying, you are dissing the Chick-fil-A chicken. I'm
I'm
going to
just
get
saying.
hate mail over this
I
episode.
know. I know. But the reason they always have a line, a long line, is there is a higher level of expectation of the kind of service you're going to get at a fast food restaurant. There really is, and they've really systemized that customer service experience, probably to my knowledge, a level that no other fast food restaurant has. And they're so good at it that they don't build new Chick-fil-A's without an expectation that we're going to need 2 lines and they're going to need to be able to hold at least 20 cars in each line through the parking lot. They build them today expecting to be that busy and expecting to have to roll through that many vehicles in their drive-through. There's no McDonald's doing that. There
I remember
isn't.
the first time my son took me in Georgia, because I'm like, Chick-fil-A, whatever. I hear everybody talking about it. And he's like, you have to go, Mom, because that's like his favorite
Right.
thing to eat. And I'm like, there's not much that I'm willing to wait online. That amount, I saw the amount of cars, and I'm like, absolutely not. And I started having my little hissy fit, and I'm like, I'm not waiting an hour in line to have a whatever Chick-fil-A. I'm not doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, this line will be 5 minutes. And I said, there is no way that this
Right.
line. And he's like, Mom, you'll just see. Just trust me. And I was like, just sitting
Right.
there. And then son of again, we were through the line in 5 minutes. I couldn't believe it. And he's like, I told you, Mom. And I was like, you got me there because the way they have, but you know what you're going to get. You know how they're going to handle the line. And it's exactly the same every time.
Mm-hmm.
That when I go with him, there isn't anything different. And I wonder too, Charlene, what
Mm-hmm.
do you think about, and I know that I often tell my clients to send their internal customers to a 5-star dinner or go and have one as a group or whatever, because sometimes I think people don't know what good is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you've never received 5-star service, regardless of what industry it's in, it's hard to say this is how we should do it. Even the way answering someone,
Mm-hmm.
when you say, when they're like, can I help you?
Right.
And it's like, can you look at my car? Yeah. And it's like, instead of that would be my pleasure, and
Mm-hmm.
simple things like that. And so what do you think about people taking their internal customers and for a weekend to reward them, because they should be doing things to reward them anyway,
Mm-hmm.
or a dinner or whatever? Is it like, here, look at the difference. Look at the difference in the way somebody takes your order and how they speak with you,
Right.
how they present things. I mean, what are your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts on that?
So we have such low expectations today, right? In just about any kind of interaction with just about every business. And the expectation for our employees is that's good enough because that's the same experience they're having, right? So if you want to bring that higher level of service, absolutely, your team has to be on board. Part of this question is, do you take them somewhere so they can get to see what that exceptional 5-star experience looks like for the people they're going to serve? But the other side of it is, are you going to provide those internal customers, those team members, with a 5-star experience that makes them want to provide that
Absolutely.
to
Has
the
to be
people
all
coming in
around.
your doors? Because it really will be seen that way. This is what you want me to provide to the people that are making you money, but you're giving me this level of experience as an employee of your business. Why do I want to put forth this level of effort? Because a lot of it is effort. You can systemize it, but I can say the same exact systemized customer service script and say it's a wonderful day here at ABC Plumbing. This is Charlene. It's my pleasure to serve you. How may I serve you? Or because I love what I do and the people who I work for take great care of me and it's a pleasure to come to work every day, I could be saying, it's a great day at ABC Plumbing, and I am so pleased to get to serve you today. My name's Charlene. What can I do to help you today? Just the phone call was going to make a tremendous difference.
Absolutely. And we don't want people doing things out of
Mm-hmm.
compliance. We want them doing it out of commitment,
Right,
right? And it's, how I feel
right.
on that. The internal customer should be
Mm-hmm.
treated better than the external customers for
Absolutely.
sure.
One of the things that, because you alluded to the business that I owned before I got to hang out with you all day, every day, one of the things that we used to do, and we had to learn the value of this, is at least once a year, and if we could, we tried to do it twice a year. We did exactly that. We took our entire team, all our employees, plus if they had a significant other, their significant other was invited along as well, for a weekend retreat. We would close early on Friday. We'd go someplace that was in, decent driving distance, 2 to 3 hours max. And part of day one, we would have a room where we would brainstorm and we would ask them what would they like to see happen in the coming year in the business, what were their personal goals. If their spouses wanted to be part of that meeting, they were welcome to be a part of that meeting, because a lot of times they have goals for their significant other that it would be helpful for you to know. And then the rest of the time, it was all expense paid weekend somewhere exceptionally nice. This was not a Holiday Inn. This was a nice resort, normally by a beach or a big enough city that they had lots of options. And the fact that we would invest that amount of money, and the fact that we really sincerely wanted to hear from them, we gave them a 5-star experience as an internal customer. None of them had worked for anyone who did that before. Not a single one of them. So when I first introduced it and said, hey, we're going to do this, they're like, what? What? They really were, they were confused. You know,
They probably thought you were crazy.
well, I was probably a little crazy, at least. But if you go to, for example, a very nice high-end Michelin star restaurant for your very first time, there's going to be a few confusions because you've never experienced that before. You've never had anyone cater to you like that before. You've never had an experience where 2, 3, 4, 5 different people were catering to your table all at the same time. I mean, it's a tremendous difference between that experience and, I don't know, say Applebee's, which I like Applebee's, but it's not a Michelin star restaurant. I don't expect the same level of an experience there. But as a business owner, I can tell you without a doubt, when you start looking at how much does it cost me to offer that extra thing, that forever wow experience, it's 100% you're going to see a monstrous return on that investment if you do it consistently. If you do it consistently, and I can't emphasize that enough because that's what this whole conversation is about. You can't just wow the new customers. You have to wow everybody over and over again. And yes, if you really want to bring the wow, you have to put some money out. But it's going to return multiple ways. It's definitely going to result in customers coming back over and over and over. It's definitely going to result in those direct referrals, which, you know, they're still alive and well. Yes, Google reviews have a big impact, but you telling all your friends on a personal post on Facebook or actually talking to them verbally and telling them still has a huge impact as well. It's going to return in steady business. And I think if you have the problem where you can't take in all of the people who want your services, you're honest. You're honest with them. We want to make sure that you get the same exceptional experience you always have. And right now, in order for us to do that, we have to make some changes in our schedule, or we're going to have to, even a restaurant that doesn't normally take reservations, if you're really that busy and that popular, maybe you start taking them and you tell people walking the door, you know, we really want you to have that great experience, and we understand, gosh, it's about an hour wait right now. If you're not comfortable with that, I'll put you on our special reservation book if you don't mind coming back tomorrow night. And we will have a table set aside for you tomorrow. You don't have to advertise that you do that, but wow, especially if this is someone who's been a faithful customer for years, you've just given them a wow experience. You're accommodating the situation and finding a way to make it work for them. And I bet when they come in for their reservation the next night, you
They get
guys,
to walk past everybody.
they get to walk past everyone because you've already set aside a table for them. That's some good stuff right there. You know, it's just our expectations are so low. It really doesn't take a lot to give people a wow, but it does take a
Well,
lot to give it to them over and over and over again.
for sure, the consistency is
Right.
that key. You know, I would much rather, and I think most people, I think 99% of the population, at least anyone I ever ask, would rather someone say, listen, we cannot provide you with the service that you expect and you deserve if we take you in today, whatever it is. And
Right.
just let me know that. And then let me decide if I want to have substandard service or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is, or maybe I decide to come back another day when it's better. But I
Mm-hmm.
would much rather that and give me the choice than allow me to come in and sit down or do whatever and wait and wait and wait and then
Right.
have it be like an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. It makes me crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
Charlene, you are one of the busiest people I know because half of your life, I think, you spent in school and training and learning and soaking up every piece of information like a sponge, and then you use it. I know a lot of people that go to school and do all these
Mm-hmm.
certifications and then they don't apply anything, but you actually do it. So you have like double step. So over the years, I've watched you evolve into this person you were always meant to be. And so what is one of the unproductive habit you had that you had to get rid of to be this wonderful version of you?
Whew. Well, I would probably have to say excessive use of my cell phone. And I think a lot of us fall into that trap. I certainly don't have it perfect, but I think I've reduced the amount of time that I spend on it by about, I know this is going to sound terrible, but probably about 2 hours a day. Because we don't realize those 5 minutes here and those 8 minutes here and those 4 minutes there, they add up real quick. And most of our smartphones will tell you how much screen time were you on this phone this week. And that was kind of a wake up call when I first started getting those reports on my phone and went, holy crap, am I really spending that much time just twiddling on my phone? So consciously changing that habit, and I think that's the most important part of that sentence. Consciously changing that habit made a tremendous difference. Absolutely.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you for coming today to talk about the FWE because I love it. I'm very passionate about that stuff. So I hope that you will be back soon because as soon as you get done with your other training, I mean, it's not a big secret, but it's going to be too hard to explain right now
Right.
in a couple minutes. And I know you want to present information that will be useful and helpful to everybody. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. All right, everybody, stay safe, make good choices, and stay inspired. And I will be back next week.